Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. Plenty of Manchester United news to get through today, including INEOS and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's ownership of Nice. Also, I'll take a look at Kobbie Mainoo taking absolute pelters after that England game last night against Iceland. And anything and everything you want to talk about today, Reds, get it in the chat and we will discuss it throughout today's video. First of all, it looks like French football is going through a bit of chaos, in particular Nice. You know, multi-club ownership models and also the TV revenue, the TV rights for next season.
Yeah, well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has took one massive misstep with this multi-club ownership. He assured us 6 months ago that everything would be all right. He's had conversations. That does not look like it's the way now. He's turned round. No problem, he says. It'll be sorted. I've had chats with everyone throughout Europe. Them rules concerning multi-club ownership, they weren't written down as law. They were always open to interpretation, and that's what seems to be happening. He seems to be in big problems there now with it. Manchester United, I said it ages ago. You take over Manchester United, you concentrate on Man United. Sell Nice. Well, it looks like he's having to sell now. He's having to sell because that French league is in serious trouble, financial trouble.
He might also then look, if he does, well, INEOS and Ratcliffe sell Nice, they might then go and look maybe in the United States or Australia to go and buy another club. Or do you think he'll just then solely work on Manchester United?
No, this sale just isn't about the financial. It's about the multi-club ownership. What I've read, and don't take it as gospel because I am not really 100% on what I've read. I've read it 2 or 3 times, and he wants to put it in a blind trust. It's happened before, after the 2025-26 season, and then he's hoping to offload it. But that's what it's going into a blind trust. Anyone out there what knows exactly what they're talking about when it comes to a blind trust. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe is being pushed into places he doesn't want to go. But he's having to sell because this multi-club ownership now is coming back to haunt many a club, and there's going to be rules. I've never ever been able to understand how you can be part owner or an owner of two, 3 football clubs and play in the same competition. It's always baffled me. That's why I said when it first came up ages ago, he's got to sell, concentrate on Man United. It's all right having a little bit of a cake here and a cake there to show off to somebody, but Manchester United isn't about showing off to someone. He needs to concentrate and get all his resources involved with Manchester United. So it's not about, this is my opinion, about the financial constraints, what's happening now in France. This is about the multi-club ownership, and he has took one big misstep, which doesn't bode well when you think that this man says he knows what he's doing. Doesn't look like it at the moment. And quite a few owners now are going to fall foul of this multi-club ownership.
Like you say, with the multi-club ownership, you know, the rules are always changing because there's quite a lot of owners out there looking to adopt that model as well, investing in other clubs. So UEFA are constantly, by the looks of it, having to change the rules. And, you know, I think this is the first step where Ratcliffe's thinking himself and INEOS, you know, we'll have to sell up. And maybe, I know they've got Lucerne Sport as well. I think maybe another club in the Ivory Coast, but, you know, surely this whole focus now should be on Manchester United, the size of the club as well, and the actual task that needs to be undertaken.
Listen, he should just focus on Manchester United, okay? There's billionaires out there looking at what's going on in the Premier League, throughout Europe as well, about multi-club ownerships. They want to come in, dominate, and have everything. You can't have everything. The rules are there. It looks as though they've all got in under a certain little level, and now they want to take it to another level, and that's where the problem lies. Okay, you can't have 2 clubs. You can't be an owner of 2 clubs in the Champions League. You can't be an owner of 3 clubs. He has misstepped, just like many other clubs. They want to dominate. These state-owned clubs, these multi-billionaires, they want to take over football. And UEFA and the governing bodies are now looking at it and going at it proper, and there's big problems. And as far as I'm concerned, right, he should just concentrate on Manchester United, right, put all his resources in it, right. And I go back to what I just said. It is a misstep for him. And really, he should just concentrate on Manchester United. Manchester United is unlike any other football club. And the resources he's got and spreading them thinly over so many clubs, isn't the model I want to see. He needs to concentrate and put everything into United, and he needs to do it quick. But the problem is, he's trying to sell Nice. That's what the reports are saying. But France football, the TV rights was like €1 billion. Well, they've not been signed. There's
actually
TV.
no agreement there at the moment to have a partner with a TV broadcaster. And we had a conversation before, just off camera before we come on, and he was mentioning Mbappe. He's no longer in the French league anymore. He's moved over to Spain. So how much of a huge hit that will be on the rest of the clubs in the league?
Well, that's a huge hit, and that's one of the reasons.
He's a star attraction.
That's one of the reasons probably, like the TV people haven't come to an agreement on how much. It's the TV revenue, what facilitates football, what gives it the money, gives it the power. Well, it's €1 billion. That was the last TV deal for the French league. Now they're talking it could possibly be as low as €500 million. Well, that's a massive hit for these clubs, and it'll be a massive hit for Nice and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and he's looking to sell. Well, he's going to struggle to sell for the price he wants because he's spent a lot of money in Nice. So that is a misstep in itself, going into the French league, thinking it'll just get up there with the Premier League and other clubs. It was never going to happen. I said it before, and it looks like that's the way it's going to be. France, they're in trouble with the Football League. They're in trouble with the TV rights. And most of all, concerning us, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is in serious trouble. He might just have to sell the club on pennies what he paid for it.
Do you think this is something that'll be put into motion quickly in terms of trying to get it sold as soon as possible into the coming season? Or do you think this might actually take time?
Listen, it depends what he wants for it. A couple of £100 million investment spending, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Is he going to get that? I very, very much doubt it. The TV money will tell you and dictate the price of the seller's market, and it'll be so low. If at the end of the day, I think he'll be lucky to sell it for £100 million if he's lucky.
If he's lucky.
If he's lucky. I mean, it's in a terrible, terrible state, the French league, and this doesn't help this multi-club ownership rules, what they're looking at. And for him to consider putting the club into like a blind trust while all these rules and everything get... So it can function, really, without being penalised. So he has to put it... They're looking at putting it in that, and I think there'll be one or two other clubs looking at this blind trust. And like I say, I'm no expert on what the rules and regulations are besides a blind trust. I'm only telling you what's out there, what the suggestions are, what may happen with Nice and Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
I think when you're talking about a blind trust, I think I put it up on screen before, something that's happened in the past, or is it recently, with Toulouse and AC Milan, their actual owners and their multi-club ownership, and that's something that's happened there before, so it's a similar thing, I think, what's coming into effect with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Manchester United, INEOS and... Nice.
But it's a blind trust with the end game of selling it, because these rules and regulations, I think they will catch football out, and especially these owners. And like I say, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, massive misstep. And the thing is, does it bode well for United fans looking to the future? If that's a massive misstep, he told us, he's been speaking to the people, and he was confident. Well, I'm not happy with that.
There's also been reports, rumours about Todibo from Nice, the centre-half, that Manchester United have been interested in him for a while. I've seen reports on Thuram as well. So maybe he could sell us them players before he sells up at Nice. But then again, when you're looking at selling a football club, every player is an asset and they have a value, and that adds to the value of the whole football club as well.
Well, there's the problem for Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He wants to keep the asset because it keeps the value, and that's the problem in football now. Players are being put on the sheet, on the spreadsheet, the finance sheet, and they're used as collateral finance. There's an asset. That's what we are. We've got an asset as a player. We value him at that, and he's on our sheet. Very complicated, but that's the way of the world nowadays, isn't it? It's getting complicated, and this has just made it more.
Yeah, let us know what your thoughts and opinions are on that news, what we've just discussed. Love to hear your views on it. But just going on to the England game last night, got to be honest with you, I watched the first half. There'd only little bits and pieces of the second half. But I woke up today, seeing reports from the actual Telegraph, a journalist called Jay Burt, absolutely ripping into Mainoo, especially for Iceland's goal as well. I think they actually gave him a rating of 4.
Well, listen,
and this is just starting again. on a Manchester United player, building them up and bringing them back down.
Listen, the media have always attacked United players, always. I mean, it was horrendous at one time, especially when the Beckham and the Nevilles were out there on the pitch for England. It was just horrendous. But what it is with Kobbie Mainoo, I spoke about when he was announced that he was going, and I said, that's bad news. That's bad news. I don't want him to play. I thought it would be good for Kobbie Mainoo at his age to go in there and play alongside in training games. Yeah, get that friendly out of the way, but be a part of it and learn his trade. I thought it'd be very good to be around one or two world-class players, because there is one or two world-class players in that England side. But the squad itself, I don't think it's a great squad, but he's in there and it's a learning period for him. So it's rushed. But for people to come out and start criticising a kid what's just got in there, who's not even played a full season for Manchester United, this is absolutely ridiculous. But it doesn't shock me. We know what the media's like when it comes to United. That England game last night was absolutely diabolical, okay? So someone has to be the scapegoat. And generally what happens is they pick on the Man United player. But the little highlights I seen of it, because I didn't watch the full game, I thought Kobbie Mainoo, for his game there, being in the spotlight, I thought he just mooched around, done what he done. Nothing fantastic, but I didn't see him have a poor game.
You're actually looking up to the lead up of that goal Iceland scored. You're looking at Kyle Walker, should have pressed more. You know, Declan Rice, where was he? And more importantly, John Stones, Aaron Ramsdale, what was he doing for the goal? But they go and attack and target Mainoo for his performance and his input into the goal. Well, it's an absolute joke. But I'm sure a lot of United fans, like you say, have been used to this over the years and automatically seen it. And Kobbie Mainoo himself, you know, he does look like a lad who can handle the pressure, seems very calm and composed. So I'm sure he'll be able to deal with that at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I think he'll have a good people around him, especially at Manchester United. And to be honest with you, the players in the squad as well, I think they'll try and look after him as well.
Yeah, to be honest with you, you know, you say Kobbie Mainoo's got a good head on his shoulders, and he has. I've seen him in interviews, and he comes across well on the pitch, and that he's confident. I think he'll just laugh it off. And I think some of the players really around him will laugh it off as if to say, well, that's the media for you. You know, there's a couple of players getting a bit of stick, but Kobbie Mainoo, with one or two journalists, was like the target for giving abuse. But I think he'll laugh it off, and I think that's the right way to do it. But going into the Euros, Kobbie Mainoo will keep his head down, do what he's told, and I don't think Kobbie Mainoo is expecting to play right through the tournament. He might get a chance at some point, but for now, I would just prefer him to be in the squad, learning, educating himself, and just being around good players, which only bodes well for United going forward.
Yeah, obviously with us discussing that, Erik ten Hag foreseen this as well. And after the FA Cup final, when he was stood there speaking to BBC, he said, we have to keep calm, this was on Mainoo, because you guys in England know how to push players and then hammer them when they have a bad game. This is exactly what Ten Hag was obviously talking about as well with this instance with Mainoo last night.
Well, Ten Hag is 100% spot on. I mean, how many times have you seen people in Britain from all walks of life, whether it's politicians, footballers, everything, they just get them up there and they just take the legs away and slaughter them. It's great headlines, great news, and Ten Hag was spot on. But so when you read that out and when you think about what Ten Hag said, I think Mainoo would have been given a chat in the ear about what to expect, how to deal with things and that. So I've seen him perform on camera, and I think to myself, this kid is well trained up there, and there's people behind him advising him and also letting him know, be wary and just stay at a certain level and don't get too cocky, because this is what happens. And straight away, this is what's happened. Ten Hag, spot on there.
Yeah, I'm not too sure after the game if Waistcoat was actually asked anything by the actual reporters on Kobbie Mainoo. If he was, let me know how we actually dealt with it. But, you know, there's also reports linking him yesterday to Manchester United as the manager's job. But we started laughing to ourselves, to be honest with you, when we seen it, because it's like, oh, there must be an England game tonight, just so they've got some clicks and some headlines to go at.
Well, that's the media, isn't it? You know, what can we do to get United in the conversation? Well, let's mention Southgate. Yeah. So Southgate there doing an interview. Well, hang on a minute. are you going to be Manchester United manager? We've seen it time and time again. When any manager name comes up, next thing you know, they jump on it. Well, England are playing. We're going to hear for God knows how long until we get something.
Some clarity and confirmation from Manchester United. The only thing I've seen this week, to be honest with you, and I don't think it's anything where it's big news, is like Ten Hag's meant to be back off holiday tomorrow on Sunday. But, let's see what happens from there. Will he be called into Manchester United to have a chat?
I mean,
I don't know.
I've seen some headlines, and to be honest with you, the reporting and the media, the way, and everyone's gone on about it, it's so poor, it's unbelievable. I mean, if you look at the cup final, it's coming tomorrow, the day after the cup final. Erik Ten Hag's getting sacked. Next thing you know, he's not been sacked. Not sacked on the Sunday, on Monday. In the coming days, Erik Ten Hag's getting sacked.
I've seen it in The Guardian this week. I think it was from Jamie Jackson. And he said earlier on in the week that a decision and the outcome will come to light this week and a decision will be made. Then you're seeing journalists from the same newspaper, other newspapers, now suggesting it could take weeks, this actual decision, which I find absolutely baffling because they actually don't know anything. Well, and you've mentioned before, you actually quite like this secrecy where everything's in-house now at Manchester United.
Yeah, I quite like it because I've looked at this and said to myself, right, this just isn't about Erik Ten Hag. No way is it just about Erik Ten Hag.
No.
This is about everything inside Manchester United, and a plan has to be put together, not just for 6 months. I believe what's going on is a long-term plan and a structure being put into place, and there's a lot of moving parts to be sorted out. And that's why it's taking time. You look at the 48 hours after the cup final, end of the week, Erik Ten Hag, end of the week is getting sacked. The end of the week comes, all the same people again, regurgitating it. Yeah. Beginning of next week.
Well, it's only
beginning of next week. And then halfway through this week, what's just gone, on Friday, and everyone's reporting Thursday, Friday, he gets sacked today. And now, like you've just said, it's so embarrassing. They're going, well, there's a lot to do, and it's going to come out next week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like we said, after the cup final as well, you'll see it. The same journalists, like when it does come out, in our opinion, anyway. Yeah. Ten Hag is staying. You'll see them all. Oh, they've done a drastic U-turn for such and such a reason. When it's always probably been that Ten Hag will be the manager next season.
Not one reporter I've seen has come out with a confirmed story from inside Manchester United regarding that review, what's going on. Not one. And we know these people who are close to certain people inside Manchester United, but not one reporter has come out with anything concrete about what's going on inside there. Not one. So, as far as I'm concerned, the doors are shut, it's locked down, there's no information coming out until they come out with it themselves.
I think, if Ten Hag is still here, obviously we'll give our opinion on whether he will be here or not next season. But if he is, I think to take a lot of the noise away, if we are going into next season, would to be give him an extended contract. I know he's still got a year and maybe an option of a second year, but I think INEOS, to drown out all that noise and to actually publicly back him, they maybe need to give him an extra 1 or 2 year extension on that contract,
Well,
because it's every time Manchester United then come out of a game and they've got beat, the noise surrounding it, like we've seen last season towards the end, it's just going to keep drowning out for clicks.
You can't have a manager, who's not got a contract, a long-term contract, because the players will be thinking, well, he's gone next year. The stories will come out and it'll just be repeat. So he needs a contract. If there is a clause there where they can activate a 1 year extension, then do it now. Yeah. That's what should be done to put confidence into the fans, into the players, and also into the players what they're looking to bring in, knowing that the manager will be there. Either give him an extra contract where they give him an extra year or two, or right now trigger that extension, 1 year extension. That's how it should be. Because if not, we're just going to see what we've seen now for the last couple of weeks. Pure and utter garbage.
Maybe it's quiet as well because they're having to do a review of OGC Nice as well with what's going on over there. They're having to sell the club. So they're having to take their eyeballs off Manchester United. Well, and it's like, look, lads, we've got a bit of work to do over here as well. Let's get back over to these offices.
Well, not a nice place, not a bad place to go as it happens. Yeah. Nice doing your work and that. Yeah, their eyeballs are everywhere. And that's why I've said to you at the beginning, Manchester United. Focus on Manchester United.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have these other football clubs and other sporting things. What they've got: racing, bike racing, motor racing. It's just they're extending themselves, and it doesn't bode well going forward for Manchester United. Manchester United is just it's mental.
I've got to be honest with you. Every time we mention the name Southgate or someone mentions the word Southgate, no one has anything good to say in the chat or under the comments below. I don't think I've come across one Man United fan who would want to see, like Gareth Southgate as a manager.
Well, I can't give, I'm in tune with everyone out there. I can't give anything good about Gareth Southgate. He's one of the most dour managers I've ever known in my life. And his personality and everything about him. I mean, Erik ten Hag's not got the greatest of personalities, but he's there, he's forthright and he's attacking and all that. But Southgate fitting in at Manchester United in any way whatsoever is a no-no. Southgate, his football, his tactics, not for me. Yeah. I just see dour football. And the big complaint about Southgate is he is frightened to death to make them changes and go for it. And we've seen it in tournaments with England. It's been poor.
To let him off the leash, so to speak. You're looking at that game last night. Like I said, I only really watched the first half, little bits of the second. But you're looking at the opposition. Yeah, they sat back low block. But the players that they've got on the field, like you said, they've got world-class players in that England squad. Your tactics then have to be spot on to get in behind. And apart from really that Harry Kane chance, he had maybe a couple of chances, did he, in the box?
Listen,
and it's just...
a friendly's a friendly, so you can, sort of push that aside. But I go even further. I look at the final in the Euros against Italy. Okay, scored early, Luke Shaw, and then next thing you know, he didn't go to push it, didn't go to get that second goal. That was very poor. He let Italy into the game and sort of dominate possession. And then if you go into the World Cup with France, that was just absolutely terrible. By the time he committed himself, it was way too late. Poor tactics and frightened to death. He seems to be a manager who just loves defending. And that's what a lot of people say. But I've nothing good about him at all as a manager and as coming to Manchester United. And to be honest with you...
Imagine if he was the manager there next season.
Well, what would the meltdown be? What would the meltdown be? I wouldn't have anything positive.
I don't know.
I wouldn't have anything positive to say about him. Yeah. All I could turn around and say, and probably
the only little bit of light of positivity you could maybe show is if they actually went and won the Euros, England.
No,
if that was to happen, do you know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't have any positives.
Something to cling on to if you know. But
no, I wouldn't have any positives.
Waistcoats out there every week.
But the problem with if Southgate did come, I always say you back the manager and all that. Yeah. I'd have to back him, and I'd make myself look the biggest fool out there, and I don't know how to get out of it. So if anyone's got any advice, I will get out of backing Southgate as a manager when I've got nothing good to say about him. Maybe
we might have to take ourselves out of being a Manchester United channel and just do it as a football channel.
No,
maybe something like that.
I haven't got a clue how to get out of that situation. What situation I've put myself in. Southgate, Man United, I'm in big trouble.
Ray in the chat, if watch Southgate last night, that's exactly how we play. I don't think I can come to Old Trafford to watch that. Got it out in the end. Cheers for your super chat, Ray.
I think there's another way of looking at Southgate as well. If Southgate comes to United, I think it had a massive effect on money coming into Manchester United with sponsors. I don't really think... Imagine if Southgate failed dramatically in these Euros, come to United and is the manager of Manchester United. Do them sponsors would really, really want to come to Manchester United and pump the money in, having a manager like that with all negative press? I mean, any sponsor what's there, when there's negative press, they don't mind that. But I think they'd have another look at it and say, this isn't for us. Yeah. So this is bad. But at the same time, you also have to look at it as a football fan, as yous out there look at it. You look at Southgate, you've got nothing positive for it. So why is Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if that's the case, he comes here? What is he looking at to even think of bringing him to United? That's if reports are true. And maybe there's a delay.
Listen, I'm still fully behind Erik ten Hag. Was it 6 years before we'd won a trophy since he'd come in, Carabao Cup? Then obviously we won the FA Cup, you know, 2 trophies, back-to-back seasons, 3 cup finals. You know, I'm still fully behind him, despite, let's face it, a shocking season in the Premier League. You know, there's no disputing that. Even if you do add injuries in there should have been some changes and some tactics he should have changed in certain games, and we didn't get the results we wanted against, especially the lower teams in the league. But, you know, going forward, I'm still behind Erik ten Hag, and yeah,
well,
hopefully we can improve next season under him.
Well, I put it simple about Erik ten Hag, right? There's a lot you can say was poor. There's a lot you can say was good. But I'll say this about bringing in a new manager. Yeah. You really want to bring a new manager, right, into this chaotic club, okay? It is not sorted out. Yeah. Erik ten Hag, keep him here. Let him carry on dealing with the job he was given when he come in, and a lot of that job when he came in was to sort the mess out. If you think you're going to bring a manager in, right, to take you up there and way beyond what Erik ten Hag's done, right, I think you're wrong, because at the end of the day, it's chaos inside Manchester United. And if a new manager did come in, you'd want him to come in on a level playing field. There's no level behind him. There's no level playing field in there. Not from the players in that squad in there and from the people running the club at the moment. You know, if you want to change your manager, change it when everyone behind the scenes is on par with each other and they're all on the same path. They're not on the same path, but Erik ten Hag understands what that path is inside United. So that's one of the main reasons I want to keep Erik ten Hag. Stick with it and get rid of the deadwood.
Yeah, no positivity whatsoever since we've been mentioning Gareth Southgate in the chat. There never is, like we said earlier.
No, never is.
But just like to thank everyone for joining us today. Been popping off in the chat. Some great opinions as usual. An absolute fantastic community we've got here on the Webby and O'Neill channel.
Magic.
And it's much appreciated. If you want to help support us, smash a like on the video. And if we're not back tomorrow on Sunday, we'll be definitely back on Monday. So get that notification on and enjoy the rest of your weekend, Rads. See you again soon. Thank you.